Flying Joe. Know all there is to know, from masterpieces to deep fried tacos. And if the movie sucks, you might hear them say, there's no telling where the guys will take you. Get ready for a spoiler. Won't say it twice, cause we already warned you. Better watch out, it's gonna ruin the plot. Real spoilers. Real spoilers. Real spoilers.
Broadcasting from the lush but not lavish studios located in the basement of the O'Keefe Institute for Advanced Film Snarkitude, this is Real Spoilers, episode 695, Jurassic Lost Dominion World.
This is like, you know when Game of Thrones stopped using
No.
the books?
I bailed before then.
That's this.
I know, Joe.
Thank
I
you.
know.
Thank you. That's this. They're
But
like,
there was only one book,
there's two books.
and they never followed them.
1 and 2 did. So
Did they?
1
Two-
did. 2 went a
yeah.
little off the rails, but
Yeah. Well, so Dodgson was supposed to be the villain in the second book, and they made it different.
oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
So
been
he's
so long
back.
since I've read that book. I
Yeah.
was a freshman in high school when I read
I don't
that
like
book.
Michael Crichton. I don't read him.
He's kind of like the
He's
James Patterson.
He was kind of like Tom Clancy, where all of a sudden it was like, here's 45 pages describing a nuclear submarine, and I'm just like, don't care.
and the feds are like, hey,
Yeah, he got
Where'd you
investigated
get
for that. Like they were just like, how did you know all that?
put this blindfold on. We need
Yeah.
to talk to you.
But like he would do that, but with science, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, this is boring.
Congo.
Like this is no, thank you.
Yeah.
Do it about dinosaurs. I'll take it all day.
That first one's great.
So, before we jump in, shameless plugs. Don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find a podcast. You can find us while you're there. Be sure and leave us a review and follow us so you never miss an episode. Word is we have a new review.
We do. This is a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
It came on Thursday, and I'm not going to try to pronounce this because it's just letters.
Okay.
It is
That's how
Like,
actually
that's
most
how
names,
language works.
That's true, but you can. There's vowels that make sense, and this one.
vowels. We're
Yeah.
not there yet. Okay, got it.
This is like USUAHAHSH. There. Even I can't get it.
Yeah,
right.
right.
You don't even,
Either way,
you're struggling with the letters.
The letters, yeah.
Just individual letters.
He
are
tried to tell us,
I
and
did.
we made it. Okay.
There we go. Been listening for years now. Great group of hosts with good insight and comedy. Can't go wrong with this podcast. Also, we did, after last week, we did get another one on Good Pods.
Yeah.
So just so everybody's aware, like this is, like I said last week, this is like the new hotness. Like this is the thing that people are using. But you can also, you can review the show itself, but you can also go in and rate and review and comment on the episodes, like individual episodes. So you
That's
can
cool.
do that as well. So on our X episode, we got a 5-star review from Michael Booth. Longtime fan of this movie review podcast, signed up for Good Pods on Joe's recommendation. If you love movies, you will also love Real Spoilers. So do that on Good Pods, which is kind of like the new thing. And we've actually moved up. We were at like 97 last week. We're at number 60 this week.
Look at
Oh,
that.
that's
There you
great.
go.
So we skipped right over 69.
Damn it.
Like
Not
being
nice.
married. So, actually, 69 is the worst.
It is the worst.
I don't even get
What's the
why it's a
point?
thing. Like it's like I just either focus.
Yeah.
Either focus on enjoying it or focus on doing it. But focus.
As a guy with ADD, I need to focus.
Yeah.
You know,
like it's-
I don't need any of the distractions.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, while we're doing the shameless plug, speaking of plugs,
Hey now.
you can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/real spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. The group is called the League of Show Sharers because we're hoping you'll share an episode. And people who were kind enough to share an episode this week include David Rojas, Josh Rosen, Ralph Tribble, Lane Levanway, Tammy Sherman Powers, Gabriel Lugo, Heather Sachs, Julianne Jordan, Travis T. Witt, Chris Valls, Chris Magic Man, Chris Williams, the trifecta,
No relation.
Brad Hyan, Nostalgia Critic, Vertigay 314, ATL Bone and Bread,
Hey now.
Feel and Film, Invasion of the Remake, Colby Told Me, Binge Movies, Matt Niglia, Ronnie Castle, Mike and Oscar, In Session Film, Minorities Report, Ryan Terry from the Force of Crowd podcast, and Geek to Me Radio. So finally, don't forget we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/real spoilers for $5 a month. You get all sorts of bonus content, and you help us out, and that's really cool.
Also, all the comics are out. They've been mailed and they are shipped. So they are.
Awesome.
If you are in the $7 tier, And if you haven't, and I haven't said anything, shoot somebody a message, either the show page or me personally, and I will make sure those get out. The last two folks, obviously, I don't know what happened there, but they got extra ones. So instead of getting 2, they got 6.
And don't
Ta-da.
forget, if you up your $5 monthly commitment to $7,
yes,
then you can still get the comics. It's not like you have to your first month
Oh,
or anything.
no.
If you decide to upgrade anytime, I mean, it's just $2 extra, but over time, that helps us out just that much more. So it makes a difference if you can do it, and then we'll give you that little extra.
Give you a little extra.
Yeah. So anyway, there's all that. Jurassic World Dominion.
This sucks. This
is a huge disappointment.
but the last one was bad too, right?
Yes.
The last one was bad.
But
I think this one's better.
I think this one's better too, but the more I think about it, the less I like it. And
don't think about it.
I know, but
don't think about it. That's your mistake.
but I had to write a review on
yeah,
it.
don't think about it.
But
Were there dinosaurs?
there were.
Okay. I would just like permission to treat the witness as hostile. Were there dinosaurs? Yes or no?
Yes.
yes.
Did they chase those dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Or get chased by those dinosaurs?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Was
yes.
there dinosaur action?
Sort of.
Not sort of. I think there were more dinosaurs per square footage of film than any
That's only because they
previous-
took over the world.
Yeah,
But they did it.
That's true.
Okay, but here's the problem, I think, with this movie as a whole. They made dinosaurs mundane. They took away what was so special about the other Jurassic Park movies and just made them there like they're a rabbit or anything. It just...
The first Jurassic Park, actually, I just rewatched that with my oldest. And there's obviously it's Spielberg, right? But there's
Right.
an element of Jaws to that movie
Well, for
where
sure.
you don't see the
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
sure.
You don't see the scary dinosaurs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. What did we say the last time we talked about a Jurassic Park movie? Aren't there only like 120 digital effects in that movie or
Of the
something?
original one.
In the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really comparatively it's very minor because he did so much of like real stuff and then would augment, but like if they were up close interacting, it was puppetry and animatronics.
That scene
and
of
real stuff.
of those kids in the Jeep with the giant T-Rex
It's just
head,
incredible.
It's terrifying
Because it's not CG.
Right.
They built a huge T-Rex.
I think the difference here is because I this was fine.
Oh, God.
But you probably don't love Jurassic
Right,
Park.
right.
That's
they
what
were
I'm
never
saying.
that good. The first one's is a really good dumb movie. Like it's like
The premise is ridiculous.
Like that movie was beneath Spielberg, and he wanted to make Schindler's List, and
Okay.
that was the deal, right? So he's like, I'll make this dumb movie for you that I don't do anymore because I want to make this 3-hour black and white movie about Nazis
that people are going to watch
that
once.
we think no one is going to go see.
Right.
It ended up making like $100 million.
Well, I mean, like you see
was
it once and you're like, I'm good for a year.
I mean, not adjusted. Like it was a blockbuster.
Sure.
And that's not the sort of movie you make thinking it's going to be a blockbuster.
Was that
and
his
now
first-
with recent turn of events, it can be a franchise.
Was that his first like dramatic blockbuster? Or did
he
have
had
anything
done
before?
Color Purple before that.
But was that considered a blockbuster? Like, did that make a bunch of money?
I wouldn't call it a blockbuster.
I mean, I think it did well though.
Okay.
I
just like it feels like he was the summer blockbuster.
But Jaws was what invented the
guy.
blockbuster.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was-
Poltergeist and that's
Yeah.
But Jaws was the
Jaws
first like
did it.
because it used to be like summer was before Jaws. Summer was where movies went to die.
sure.
Like people were like, oh, people are going to go outside. They're not going to go
Yeah.
see a movie in the summer.
You need AC? Okay, come see this movie.
Yeah, and so like that invented not only the blockbuster but the idea of summer being a good time for movies.
it used to be February.
Yeah, and interesting. Like TV used to be the big night for TV used to be Saturday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then
Why?
I don't know, it just was, and that's when Mary Tyler Moore was on. Like that's where Carol Burnett, they would stack their big shows on Saturdays.
People didn't know you could go out yet.
Yeah.
Wait,
So
I can go outside.
So anyway, I've never had a lot of love for this franchise. I mean, some are good, some aren't, and like for me, I watch this. I'm like, there was lots of dinosaurs doing dinosaurs. I don't know what more you want from these things.
But on the flip side, though, I mean, just to put, so I get it, and that's your view of them and how you grew up with them. But like, we grew up with Jurassic Park being one of the biggest, most special movies of all time.
That was
Jurassic Park's kind of our Star Wars. Like, you saw Star Wars as a kid.
Right.
We saw Jurassic Park, and that is to me a masterpiece. I don't think it's dumb at all. I think it's smart. It's technically
it's a
incredible.
It's a great movie, but just like it's also it's fluff.
But there's dumb action movies, and then
Sure.
this is, I would call this elevated action.
Oh,
if we were to
my
yeah,
God!
call back.
I mean, I would.
That's it. We're losing all our subscribers.
I would agree with that. Like
Right?
it's just. But at the end of the day, it's still.
It's a popcorn
I
movie.
think-
right, yeah.
But
I
it's,
think there
it's
is-
one of
it's
the
a-
best popcorn
Yeah,
movies of all
absolutely.
time.
There is an interesting generational gap because you had Star, and I don't think like I was 11 when this came out, so for me it's Batman. Like 89's Batman is.
Well,
like,
they can both be. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that it like we think of this more special than Tom because he was older and he wasn't a kid taking in the majesty of dinosaurs
They
on
also
the big screen.
merchandise the Jesus out of this.
Yeah, I was
There
like, I think I was like, what, it came out in 94?
93.
So I'd have been 22, 23
Yeah,
years
you
old
were
when
just
it came
past
out. So
the-
it's just like, I went and saw it, and then it was like, oh, that's good.
It was a
and then I
movie.
went back to having sex with my girlfriend. Like, that's,
in the theater.
well, no,
Oh,
not that cool.
So I just had to, I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, but that's the thing. I love Jurassic Park, and so I want all these movies to be good. I'm not going into any of these movies hoping they're bad, hoping
Sure.
they fail. Jurassic Park 3 I saw in theaters one time, never watched it again because it was so bad. That was the end. That killed it. Like Spielberg didn't even come back to direct it. It was Joe
Who directed-
Johnston,
Oh.
which, could have worked.
Well, because
but
he didn't need favors from the studio anymore.
I guess he was.
So
he
Spielberg
already
at
did a
that point.
sequel. Spielberg's not a sequel guy.
Yeah,
So,
but
I
I
mean-
think he did that was it to make Amistad maybe? Like it was like I think
Oh,
that
really?
I think that was a trade off too.
Okay.
And then by the third one he didn't need anything.
like,
He had the
nah.
juice. There was no.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
He goes,
started-
I have DreamWorks.
He had started DreamWorks,
Yeah.
and he's like, I don't need you.
I can
I'll
fund anything.
make
I
whatever
want.
I want, and I'm not going to make another dinosaur movie,
Right.
and I'm done now.
So 3 killed it, and the ridiculous was premised by Jurassic Park ridiculousness premises, and it killed it. It was done. Jurassic World comes back in 2015. I love Jurassic World.
Jurassic World
It's
was a fun
so
movie.
fun,
Yeah.
and the thing is, it is stupid that they made another park, but also extremely believable
Right.
that they made that. That is a commentary. The first one's a commentary on exploiting these animals and doing this dangerous stuff, and
what you should or
and
should
Hammond
not
not
be
being
able
able to see past his own dreams of this, and the park in Jurassic World is like, who in their right mind after a disaster? Oh, corporations? Oh yeah, they would make a Jurassic. So I thought it was brilliant. You're back in a park, which was the best movie set in a park, and
You
now
had a new movie star in Chris Pratt,
Right.
like a superstar in Chris Pratt.
in an operational. We never saw Jurassic Park operational, and this
That's
is a fully operational theme park. You see the crowds coming in. You get the new characters, which are good. Bryce Dallas Howard, Chris Pratt, action star, like you said. So there's a lot of comedy in the movie. It was really fun, right? It was another fun popcorn blockbuster. And then Fallen Kingdom came out. It was
And I did not see that one because, as I was saying, is like this movie starts and I'm like, who is that girl? And Spath was like, did you see the last one? I was like, no.
I
was
saw
like,
the last one, and I still was like, who is that girl?
But,
well,
like,
you just
I had-
took my line because I saw the last one and I was like, who is that girl?
and why does she have a British? So so she has I believe this actress is British. That's fair to say, right?
Right.
But she wasn't raised with anybody that was British. So why does she have a British accent?
Because she was a clone.
But you don't clone an accent.
No, but she's a clone, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Noted.
I seriously, it's the film started. I saw Fallen Kingdom one time, very familiar experience because I thought it was bad, right? Like it was dumb, but in the bad dumb way.
I also
With the
thought it was
dinosaur
kind of
awk-
boring.
It was very boring.
And, like,
Oh,
I
see,
didn't-
thought this was boring.
I didn't think this was boring. I thought it was like there were some good action set pieces,
And
and
that's why I think this one, at least initially, I kind of want to go back now because I need to see if Fallen Kingdom is worse than this because I disliked Fallen Kingdom so much I never watched it again. And then I watched this and I'm like, oh, at least there were good
was that
action
the Chris Pratt show as
sequences
well?
yeah, they've all been the Chris Pratt.
as
Okay.
well, or as opposed to this. I mean,
Well,
this
here's
one has a couple. That's the problem is when you have 8 main characters, it's
Right.
very
Yeah.
hard
It's basically-
to focus.
It's basically two sequels on parallel tracks.
It's 2 movies mashed together as an excuse to blend all of them together, and what you end up getting is a really messy.
Hey man, you like the hand thing? You know, hey dinosaur, I'm putting on my hand. Like
Oh
you get
my
the
God.
hand thing like a lot.
Who
like,
wanted-
like
who
this,
wanted-
they should call this Jurassic World hand job.
Who wanted Chris Pratt to get eaten when he held
So
his stupid
here,
hand
like-
up for the 10th time?
Yeah.
It's like
This is-
that's not going to work with every dinosaur.
I'm
He
like, why doesn't everybody just hold up their hand
No,
to the
I know.
dinosaur?
Oh, and then the
rather
other
see
guy's
it.
like, oh yeah, hand, okay, and they're
Yeah.
I can accept the guy who was like Chris Pratt's buddy,
Right.
Who had been there since the
I
Jurassic
also forgot
World.
he was in the first movie because I didn't just rewatch it like you did. So
I
I'm
didn't watch-
like,
no, I watched the first Jurassic Park.
Oh, okay.
Not,
Gotcha.
not watching any other crap.
I just didn't remember he was in it because he says, "Oh, when we used to train raptors," and I thought, "Oh, that's an off-screen just
Right.
letting us know they had history."
Like pretending like there's a backstory.
oh,
but
he
it's
was
like,
in the
no,
first
he
one,
was-
which I mean, it's just he wasn't a major role,
Right.
You know,
It's interesting. Like we've talked about Chris Pratt before, where he Parks and Rec, right? Like he's the kind of the MVP of that show.
Oh, he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He drops all that weight and he becomes Star-Lord.
Zero Dark 30.
Oh, was he in that?
That's what he got jacked for first was Zero Dark 30, and then they're like, "Oh, you're in Marvel shape. Come over here and do
He's
a
like,
thing."
Okay.
Well, you're not in Marvel shape, but you're close enough that we can get you
We
there.
can get you the
Right.
Marvel shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He was jacked in Zero Dark
And
30,
Moneyball.
though. Yeah.
He's great in Moneyball
Yeah.
too. It's man,
Yeah, I think
love
Chris
that scene.
Pratt's problem is he got so known as Star-Lord.
There
He
it
wants
is.
to keep making movies where he's like, see, I'm not Star-Lord.
That I was
and
thinking
it's
the
like,
same thing.
how about you just be Star-Lord in all the movies?
I-
That's okay. Because like he's funny. He's legit funny.
Yeah.
And it's like he keeps toning down the funny. Like he's like in all these Jurassic Park movies, he's kind of like he's brooding.
But,
and I'm
like, in the
I don't wanna
first-
see Chris Pratt brood.
in the first one, he is Star-Lord. Like he's got that sarcastic wit. He's
But there's
snapping
something,
back.
but a little bit, but not. I don't know. It's not that
When
it's
did- when did-
angrier.
When did Guardians come out? Was that 14?
Oh,
Is that right?
Somewhere around
2014.
there, yeah.
And then so Jurassic World is 2015.
15.
yeah, it was like his next big movie.
And then he did like the significant. It
was 2014.
The Significant Seven. That's what I was.
But what
gonna
I
call
wanted
it,
to
the
ask is-
Magnificent Seven.
When did Chris Pratt become Patrick Wilson? He
That's
looks
a
exactly like he's lost more weight in his face. He looks, and he's gotten a little older. He
Yeah.
looks just like Patrick Wilson.
And Patrick
It's-
Wilson's like, thank you.
It's just bizarre. I mean, when I saw him in this movie, and I've seen the similarity before, but in this one specifically, when he
Yeah.
comes on screen, I'm like, what on earth?
because he doesn't smile.
That's true, and that's the thing is like that Star
it's-
that
he's
Star Lord
brooding.
became
He's Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
It's what he's
brooding.
doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's brooding. It's not.
He's trying to get away from
They don't
Star
call
Lord.
him Brood Falls. They call him Pratt Falls. It's gonna be funny.
That's what right. That's the thing is like you need that
Yeah.
in these movies. You
Sexist. We're gonna get complaints.
But
Why don't you smile more, Chris Pratt?
Oh.
need fine.
It's okay. I said it to
yeah,
a
I said
dude.
to a dude. He didn't
Yeah.
say it to Bryce Dallas Howard.
I love Bryce Dallas Howard.
She is the best.
She's
She is
just
the
so
best.
good at anything she shows up in, and she has very little to do here because there's 8 leads in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But it's-
honestly, I think she's got the best scene in the whole movie.
The hiding under the water thing.
The honestly, that parachute scene
It's pretty good.
was great.
That was fun.
That
Yeah.
was great.
That is a good
I've
scene.
never seen a parachute scene shot like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
like kind of from her perspective, but not.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
it's
it's so-
all just a tight shot on her. And normally a tight shot and something like that means we're trying to save money. And maybe they were.
Well,
but,
this was filmed during COVID.
okay.
So,
But
which-
it looked great, and it made me feel. I felt like I was falling out of the airplane with her.
It was
Yeah.
a good way to do. It was like a steady cam kind of like it was like locked onto her, like a
Yeah.
GoPro type of shot.
Basically, yeah.
And it was close up, like you said. I felt in it. I agree. Like less is more. You don't need to
Yeah.
show a parachute and bad CG flailing around. Just show her and her reaction.
It
and
was,
great. It
Like
was.
that's my favorite scene of the entire movie.
But
And
that,
then
that butts up to
and it goes
the
right
wa-
in.
the-
It's kind of the prelude to the water scene, which is good.
Which is also really good.
But so this is the other problem with the movie. So there's too many characters. The plot is too messy because they have to get them all back together to the same place, which is
and then you got
absurd.
And then you got
Oh, was there a plot in yours? I don't know which one.
Yeah,
I saw.
unfortunately there is, and it's ridiculous.
It was
to get
the
these,
plot is chase this thing.
no, to get 5 lead characters because there's like 5 main ones and then the new side
yeah.
characters. So, but to get the 5 lead characters together, so we should go through what the reason they're together. So
They're starting a ska band.
So this movie, again, dinosaurs are a side character. They made a Jurassic movie where dinosaurs are the side character. This movie is about genetically modified locusts.
which is just insane.
Dinosaur locust.
They're locusts.
But like that's yes, right? Like the premise of the first one is you bring in, I almost call them Waldorf and Sadler, but that's not who they are. Grant and Ellie. You bring them in to like Hammond
oh
brings
my
them
God,
in.
Muppet Jurassic Park,
Sign me
please,
up.
please
Let's do it.
Okay.
You bring
Unfortunately,
them
it's owned
in.
by Universal. It's never going to happen.
Oh, is it?
Well,
I know.
Jurassic
You do a
Park is
puppet- you do
Universal,
Puppet Universal.
but
Yeah.
Muppets are Disney.
I guess that's true.
Those two are
Well,
not going to play
Let's-
Never
nice.
again.
Well, when Disney buys Universal, we'll get Muppet Jurassic Park.
But like you bring those characters in
Yeah.
to say, hey,
That'd
this
be
park
one hell
isn't
of a
safe.
park hopper ticket.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would. No joke. this isn't safe, and then all hell breaks loose, right?
Yeah.
Like that's a pretty easy premise.
No, easily. And then you've got Ian Malcolm is there to give his
As your smarminess,
theoretical whatever
sexy
take on it.
smarminess.
So
That was my favorite part of this movie.
so
Is
in
when
this-
he's got his shirt unbuttoned and like she shoots.
Oh, that
him
was
a,
great.
She shoots him a look. He's like, "Oh, I got you."
Ian Malcolm,
Buttons it back up.
MVP. Anytime he's on screen, he makes good use of the terrible script of this movie. All the other stuff is so bad. He's funny.
Yeah.
They give him all the funny lines. He does his thing. He's Jeff Goldblum.
Do they give him funny lines, or does he make lines
No, that's
funny?
what
I think
Okay.
he makes them funny.
They give him funny situations, and he's able to make something out of it. That's what I mean. It's a
Yeah.
terrible script, but Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum. He
Yeah.
shows up. He's there, and it's wonderful.
He has definitely leaned into the Jeff Goldblum at this point. He
Yeah.
is full Jeff Goldblum.
So Dr. Sattler is called to a farm in Texas because there's giant locusts
That are, and I will say that this is kind of an interesting premise in that
in a different movie.
yes, I agree. Where there's this giant company who has genetically engineered this corn, right? So they say that,
Yeah.
like, we don't know what's going on, but these locusts are only attacking the corn that is not from this science
Yeah.
company.
I think it's a great premise in a movie not called Jurassic Park.
Right.
I think it's a very interesting that you would bioengineer crop that is, and then genetically modify these creatures to attack everything but your crop. Like there is a very good story
Yeah,
in there.
I think that's kind of it's just sci-fi enough.
I think one of the big mistakes is the last movie ends with like, oh, the dinosaurs are loose, and then the next movie is like, but that's no big deal. There's bugs.
Right. The whole,
And-
this
and
movie
so,
should be the dinosaurs
like-
are loose. Things are crazy.
Right. Like it should it should have been bigger and focused on getting a T-Rex out of the Empire State Building and
Right.
stopping the velociraptors in the Grand Canyon,
eating
and-
people.
Right. Like instead, it was just like, oh, there's all these dinosaurs out there, but the crops.
Yeah, nobody cares.
That was the mistake.
Yeah.
We were ready for the most insane conclusion to this 6-movie thing that spanned 30 years. The best scenes of this movie aren't in the movie. There's a prologue that
Oh, really?
Colin Trevorrow filmed, and it's on YouTube. So they do a flashback to the actual, Jurassic period, and there's all the dinosaurs walking around, and it's beautifully shot. The CG is incredible. You see them feeding. You see them just what life was like for the real dinosaurs. You see then a setup of the T-Rex and the new Giganotosaurus or whatever it's called, and they're fighting. So you see that they are natural enemies, and so that would make sense that genetically, like if you were to watch that, if it was in the movie, you'd actually see them fighting and go,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
because they're enemies and real, So you see that, and then you see the mosquito land on a dinosaur, which is the mosquito from the first movie. Would have been kind of cool to see in this movie,
Yeah.
right? If you didn't just go to YouTube to watch this. So you see the actual mosquito they find in the first one to make Jurassic Park. Okay, cool thing.
Well, they lowballed that mosquito,
Yeah, he
like
went-
Nev Campbell in
Yeah.
Scream.
Unbelievable.
Just so the mosquito's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Hold
He's
on,
sitting
hold on,
back,
hold-
sipping sap.
How?
He's like,
that she has been a part of that series since Jump Street.
Yeah.
How do you lowball?
She was on Jump Street?
Well,
Oh.
yes.
my
How do you-
my
how?
guess is they didn't lowball her. And my guess is that she highballed herself.
Here's the thing.
I'm not saying she doesn't deserve
She's
it, but
got one thing, right? Like, nobody's clamoring for a Party of 5 reunion. In fact, they tried it and it didn't work.
Did they really?
Yeah. They just a few years ago, there was a
Oh.
Party of 5 reboot, but I think it was like with new people. But she's got one thing. So
One
she's
thing.
like, if I'm not going to make bank on the one thing I got,
Right.
then, like, F it.
I'm out.
she'll
don't blame her.
probably be back. We see this so many times. This is the new thing that you do. I'm not saying it's bad for her to do it, but I'm just saying don't think they offered her $500,000. I think they probably offered her a lot. I mean, a lot to us.
Yeah.
And I think that she said this movie made $700 million or whatever, and you want me back? Like, this is my rate. And they said, we can't do that. We can do this. And, and she walked away, quote
I
unquote.
love that
Let's see
Jason
what
Blum says
happens.
we can't do that. He's like, no, I'm going to give that movie $5 million, and it's going to make $300 million.
Yeah.
I can't afford Nev Campbell.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what
yeah,
happens.
I think she'll be back, but they've definitely set up Kirby to come back and
Yeah.
maybe.
So
Off track, sorry.
Yes. So back to Jurassic Park. So the mosquito lands. Then it flashed forward to present time, and now dinosaurs are loose thanks to they released the 12 dinosaurs in that mansion. Now there's trillions of them out there. Remember how fast they... Okay. So dinosaurs are loose. They're everywhere now. And you see this amazing scene. It seriously is so cool. It's like something right out of the first or even the second movie. They're at a drive-in theater, and there's people all watching the movie, and the T-Rex comes behind the screen. You see the silhouette. It breaks loose. It's crushing cars. I mean, there's all this crazy stuff happening. It was an exciting action scene. And then we don't get any of that in this movie, like city destruction.
You get that.
running.
You get that awful recreation of the poster.
Yeah,
That was
where
so
they recreate the logo
cringe.
at the end.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god, that
cringe.
was so bad.
Ugh.
But we were, like Tom was saying, after you let dinosaurs loose and you're like, they've attacked the world, we expected that. And then they even show it in these little pre-clips if you go look for them. And the movie doesn't have that. And Trevorrow, in an interview, said something like, everyone's had a rough 2 years, totally paraphrasing, but along the lines of, it's been a rough time. We want to make a movie that gives people hope. And so we didn't include any dinosaurs destroying cities or buildings or whatever. And it's like,
What's the point?
I'm at a Jurassic
But
Park movie.
instead,
I
you
don't...
built your movie around a plague
Yeah.
of locusts.
Correct.
I know. I don't...
Like
it's just-
I just feel like Hollywood is just tone deaf. Like if somebody were to come to me, if I'm a studio exec and they're like, look, this is our idea for the new Jurassic Park, is we want a plague of locusts to destroy all of the crops.
If
And I
you
was
were
like,
a studio exec, we'd get a $300 million Monster Squad reboot.
you are goddamn right. But like in 2022, and somebody's like, plague of locusts, I'm like, after the plague we just got out of?
Yeah.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Can you go have like a T-Rex go smashy
Well,
and eat a lawyer or something?
Yeah,
he was also-
like not wanting T-Rexes to destroy buildings. That's an after 9/11 thing,
Right.
Right? Like we're cool with that now. We've moved on.
Have you just seen Man of Steel? Good
Yeah.
Lord.
So, in the same interview, I think he was also addressing, like, there was a close call for Ian Malcolm, and the question was, will they kill him off? Because, well, in the first book, he kind of gets killed off. You're
He
supposed
comes
to...
back in the second book, right?
He does, but you're led to believe that he could have been killed off. He doesn't do all the stuff like he does in the movie.
Yeah.
He's the lawyer in the toilet in the book. So he is left for dead, and then they bring him back. Like, oh. So anyway, the question is, do we kill him off this time? And he has the hero moment.
He
the
does.
sacrificial hero moment,
Yeah.
which also, of course, mirrors the
Yeah,
first film. Well, we'll get there,
yeah.
but so they don't do it, and that was again the director and writers saying like, we want people to leave hopeful or whatever. Hopeful, nothing was resolved here other than the crop thing, which is again a new plot point that we didn't ask for or didn't expect.
Yeah, that was my you solved one dinosaur problem.
Dinosaurs are everywhere, and we saw that when they break loose, like there's underground fighting rings, there all this stuff. When they break loose, they eat people, they gobble them up. There's a lot of problems out there.
Yeah.
You can't leave this hopeful. Why on earth?
But it's also like, I get it, right? Like, I get send them home happy, right? That's kind of in my opinion, that should be your motto for the most part with a movie. But for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Like, I can accept that, you don't always have to. But in these Jurassic, it's just...
I would have left happy if that got eaten.
I would have left happy if this movie ended 45 to an hour before it did.
How gutsy. If they would have said, they lose, dinosaurs are now, we start over. It's the, you know what I mean? Like dinosaurs roam the earth, and we start over and we see what happens.
Fine. Like, give me something.
That's what I'm
but, like,
saying.
You can't
like-
end a franchise like this,
and,
like that.
yeah.
Well, they found a different way to do it with a whimper.
Yeah.
That's how they figured out here. Either way, our main characters from the new trilogy are living off of the grid because they're trying to keep this girl who is the clone of the daughter.
Oh, before we go there, really quick, I just want to address those. So Sattler comes to check out the locust.
Yeah.
Then she has to go enlist her friend Alan Grant, who she hasn't seen in years. Alan Grant is still, at a dig site, underfunded, as he always is in
How
all
many
these
lines
movies.
of dialogue do you think he had in this movie?
Not too
I think
many.
he had like 5 pages, and he was like, "You're gonna pay me how much? Done."
But she shows up, and but like, it's ridiculous. I need you to come be a witness that I'm going to go break into this scientific lab and get the DNA from locusts
With our old buddy Ian Malcolm.
because people respect you. Okay, how are you going to get into the high-tech lab? Well, 6 months ago, they happened to hire Ian Malcolm, our best buddy from the first movie, so he's got a line in there. Like, it is, I know these movies don't have to be that smart, but the the gymnastics they have to do to get these characters together. Oh,
and just him watching her steal it, no one's going to be like, oh, well, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
the
right,
chain of custody on that DNA means nothing.
Their idea was to break into a lab, take some DNA, and have a witness and be like, we got it from there. Okay, prove that.
But
You
also,
could have
like,
gotten
the-
that from anywhere.
The chain of custody, right? Like you obtained the evidence illegally.
Yes.
You've already negated.
Well, they're
your
only worried
evidence.
about the court of public opinion.
I guess that's
so.
true.
From that vantage point, it doesn't. But I just think that, like, I mean, as we've seen, people will believe whatever they want to believe.
Yeah, that's
fair.
And if you tell them that something they don't want to believe, well, now you are no longer credible. You're only credible if you're telling them what they want to believe.
Yeah, right.
So he has to be a witness. They've got it in from Ian Malcolm. Meanwhile, our other heroes are living with their adopted daughter, who at the end of the last movie was a clone, as far as we knew.
So just so I'm aware,
Yeah.
this girl is the clone of the secret funding guy from the that we didn't know about until the last movie.
Well,
We didn't
there
know that. We
may
didn't know
have
there was a
been-
second guy
There-
involved.
that may have been established in books and other things, but in the movie world, we did not really know that.
Okay, so that guy, the not John Hammond,
The co-founder
The co-found-
of InGen.
that we didn't know
Bruce
existed
Lockwood.
until this last movie.
Most
right?
people, yeah,
Okay, has a daughter
had a daughter.
who was sick, had some sort of
Yes.
weird genetic. So she dedicates her life to genetics and trying to like alter
That's
DNA.
in this movie.
Right. We get the reveal that his Lockwood's daughter,
In the
Charlotte
last movie,
Lockwood,
you're supposed to think sad grandpa cloned his granddaughter because he missed her. That's what we think she is.
but that's not what. Okay,
that's what I'm saying. We
Yes,
thought
okay.
that up until the last
I
one.
got you.
Now,
we find out that sick Lockwood's sick daughter impregnated herself with her own clone.
yeah.
Which I think
well,
and she's carrying it like IVF. Like she,
yeah,
yeah.
She gave birth to that child.
Right.
Okay.
genetically identical.
And we're all just supposed to accept that weird ass fact. And when Ellie Sadler's like, "Oh, I knew your mom," like,
I
you
know.
knew
Yeah.
you knew
That's
her
what's-
mom.
So there's another mental gymnast. Oh, I happen to work with your mom.
But also-
like, it's so dumb.
I knew that your mom impregnated herself with the clone of herself. What?
I think she just said she loved you. I don't think she knew she was a clone. She was a baby at the time. But the fact that Sadler says, I knew your of the whole world, of this whole world, they all know each other.
Yeah.
They all work with one another. They all get jobs. At
There's a lot of just people meeting each other because the plot needs
Yeah,
them to.
right.
Like when she goes to the not the Star Wars cantina and meets Hanna Solo, and she just happens to run into her in the bathroom, and she's like, "Oh, I saw the kid you're looking for."
Right.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, she just happened. But DeWanda Weiss is the actor's name. She's
She's a
the
lot of
best
fun.
character in this movie.
Yeah,
Bryce
like,
Dallas Howard is the
Bryce
best
Dallas Howard, I
character.
think, is the best.
But
But
I don't agree just because I don't think Bryce Dallas has as much to do. Like DeWanda Weiss is cool. She's actually like gets cool actiony stuff to do. Where Bryce Dallas Howard's kind of the damsel in distress. You know, Chris Pratt, here, use the ejector. We'll crash land in the plane because we're invincible. You know, it's just But anyway, she's great. And if they make more of these movies, I hope they put DeWanda Weiss as the lead character. She's a cool character.
Yeah.
She was the Han Solo. She's a smuggler. She's cool and cocky, and it very much.
Yeah, she's a smuggler pilot who doesn't want to get involved, but still gets pulled in. They meet her in the cantina full of weird creatures.
Right.
Like,
But just remember, Trevorrow got fired from Episode 9. He was the director
so that's
of Star Wars Episode 9. So.
which makes sense now. Like, talk about a guy who had the rocket strapped to his back. Literally,
Safety Not
and
Guaranteed so good.
It is,
Yeah,
and
a long time ago.
What was the
But
first?
Jurassic World was good.
Also good,
Yeah.
but then he did
Book of
something.
Henry.
That's what.
That's
it
the one that
was.
got him fired off Star Wars was
Yeah.
Book of Henry. And
And
they were like,
never mind.
wait a minute.
Hey, you and Josh Trank, you're both fired.
Yeah.
Like, get out.
So anyway, now they're taking care of. Are you done with the Lockwood daughter thing? She's a she's a not
part.
clone.
That's the part to me that is just the most insane.
But I mean, I kind of get it in this series though. Like if they're doing genetics with dinosaurs, but the whole carrying your
Why
clone
would she?
yourself.
Why would she
thing.
impregnate herself with her own clone? Why not just raise it in a tube?
I don't know. But so anyway, that's
because it's like I said, it's like IVF. You got to carry that baby to term somewhere.
That's fine.
And I don't think
if it's not the exact genetic clone of yourself.
But it's not legal. She was doing experiments. Like you can't just say like, "Hey, I'm going to hire you to do this."
I cannot believe.
I don't get why that's so disturbing to you.
That's bonkers to me.
It is, but in this series, I don't like this movie, but I'm just saying, like in this series, okay, I'll give that whatever. So she's not a clone. At the end of the movie, the big deal was like, you dinosaurs has as much a right to live as I do, and she lets them free. But it's like, well, you two are kind of different because you're kind of a clone, and
you're not kind of a clone.
I don't know. It's just
clone.
weird because I feel like a lot of what they set up, which this sounds very Star Wars-y actually, is a lot of what they set up in the last one they undermine here.
Oh,
and
sure.
they're just like, oh, wait, that's not what happened. You were immaculately conceived, basically. And then they're like, hey, wait a minute, Blue's the last Velociraptor, but we got to have more Velociraptors. Okay.
Oh, wait, she can have babies.
So Blue just happens to hang out around Chris Pratt. They never communicate. They never talk, but, the dinosaurs were let free. Blue's hanging around the campsite where they live now with the daughter, and Blue has a baby, but it's like, wait a minute, you're the last Velociraptor. So we used to have the problem of dinosaurs can't breed. Then we have, well, you're the only one, even if you could find a way. If life found a way, you're the only one.
No, didn't they fix that in Jurassic Park where they said that they used like a different DNA in the original Jurassic Park?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Even if you said life found a way, like they did in the first one,
right.
Blue is the last one. Okay, so then they made Blue have the same deal as the Lockwood girl. So now you've got Blue that happens to just live right around Chris Pratt, even though they don't interact, and she doesn't seem to really like him or anything because she's just angry at him every time she sees him, right?
Well, she's an animal.
Right. But they're not friends is what I'm saying, but she set up camp right next to him for some reason. And then she had this immaculate conception, I'm just going to call it, because whatever you call it, self-reproduction, I don't know.
Asexual reproduction.
Yeah.
There it is. Wow.
And
Good
then...
job.
And then, so
every once in a while, I know things.
So then now this gives the plot that Biosyn, which is the rival company of InGen, Biosyn is
that what that is?
That's Dodgson. Dodgson is the guy in the first movie
I
that
remember
hired
that.
Nedry to steal the embryos in the Barbasol case.
Okay, so is the guy that we deal the Steve Jobs character of
No,
this
he's
entire
Tim Cook. He looks exactly like
is
Tim
that
Cook
who?
from
Okay,
Apple.
okay.
He
Oh,
looks
sure.
exactly like
Is
him.
he supposed to be Dodson?
He is Dodgson.
So he's the guy that Wayne Knight
Yes.
is talking to.
Yes,
at
that's
that
what
scene?
I'm saying. He's the villain of
Jesus
the book
Christ.
Jurassic Park 2. He is the co-founder, or he was a scientist at Biosyn. He's now the CEO. He climbed the ladder after being able to get some of this dinosaur DNA and stuff.
Yeah, because he hornswoggled B.D. Wong and
yeah. Well, hold on. So before we get there, hold on. This is what I'm saying. This is the plot of the movie. It's so crazy. So anyway, he is Dodgson from the first one. We never see him after the first one.
I didn't realize that. And then when Jeff Goldblum says Dodson, I looked at Spath and I was like,
yeah,
is that? Wait a minute. Why did he say that? Like, is this supposed to be the guy from the first movie?
Best tweet that I've seen was Jason from Binge Movies. Dodgson, we got Dodgsons here. See, nobody cares.
Yeah.
That was a great tweet.
Good Lord.
So he's that guy, and he was supposed to get those embryos from Nedry.
Yeah.
And, of course, he meets his demise. The can gets lost. Now, it shows up in this movie, and people are like, how did they find that can? So there's a show on Netflix called Camp Cretaceous.
Okay.
And there's just a trailer for the 5th season. There's 4 seasons. It's actually a really good show. It's CG animated, but it follows kids that go to this Camp Cretaceous that takes place at the same time as Jurassic World. And then as the story goes on,
is this in the Jurassic World world?
Yeah, it takes place at the same time, and they're kind of like off to the side. They Rosencrantz and Guildenstern it,
right?
Which is really fun. So you see the kids there, and then all crap breaks loose on Jurassic World, the park, and the kids at Camp Cretaceous are seeing it happen in the background. Ms. Ronnie crashes his helicopter. They're trying to go get help. They see it. It's all taking place at the same time. And then the seasons later on take place during Fallen Kingdom, and you see that stuff happening. And so this season 5 teases the Barbasol can. So we're going to find out how Dodgson got it, because it was buried under the mud.
So wait, just Jesus Christ. So Wayne Knight dies with the spindly, poison face, right? Whatever. And Dodson dies the exact same way.
I thought that was great. That's fitting. Yeah, that's a fitting kill. That's karma.
Look at your time. Off.
Well, if it were a better
Golly.
movie, I think you'd appreciate it.
I
I don't
think-
think there's a lot to appreciate, but I'm like, okay, Dodgson hired Nedry to get the embryos. He didn't. He still was able to build his empire based on Hammond's work and doing all his shady
But because
stuff.
he recruited B.D. Wong, right? That's the
Yeah.
whole deal, is that Wong is actually the bad guy the entire time.
And he was in the last movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
you see
okay,
that.
okay.
So now Dodgson gets his, and he dies in the same way. I thought that's a fitting
Here's
kill.
the thing.
That's one of the
Maybe.
best parts of the movie.
Maybe. If Ellie Sadler isn't wearing the same goddamn outfit and have
It's
the
close.
same,
It's close.
she's just not wearing shorts. It's the only difference.
They do have uniforms, it seems.
If
Homer
she doesn't,
Simpson.
if she with the pink shirt,
Yeah.
yeah. If she doesn't have the same reaction to when she sees the Brontosaurus for the first time, when she sees something else, it's the same thing where she stands up in a car and takes her glasses off.
Which is why this is fan service gone wrong. These
Ugh.
are all fan service moments and handled in a certain way. Okay, we just saw Maverick.
Yeah, which had tons of fan service.
All of it.
Maverick
All
is
of it masterful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maverick is an example of how to do fan service right, and then just a few weeks later, Jurassic World Dominion is how you do it wrong. And again, I love the first movie. I really like the second movie.
I know you love Top Gun. I get it.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I want these movies to be good. Like, I'm not wanting them to fail. I told you I enjoyed the Jurassic World. So it's not like I'm coming in with any preconceived notions of, oh, I hope this sucks and whatever. Like, I showed up wanting to love this
Sure.
movie. And the winking at the camera type fan service, we see so much of it now, and it's lazy. They need to be more clever like Maverick was.
I think
and work it in there.
I said this before. It's like Maverick should not have worked, right? Like that. The sequel to that movie
Yeah.
should not have been nowhere near as good as it was.
No one thought it would.
And the way that you're right, the way they handled bringing in Iceman and making
Rooster, all
the
those
Goose's,
Yeah.
son, like you couldn't bring back.
They
Kelly
made a
McGillis,
character
but-
that was apparently just mentioned verbally in one line, a throwaway line.
and they bring
A
her
lead
back.
character,
Yeah.
and she's great in this. Yeah.
There's a skill. I think No Way Home does it as well. Like No Way Home does a pretty good job of
with
you
the
know,
Spider-Man.
yeah.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I
It can
don't
be done, but
It
anyway,
can be
so
done,
it's
yeah.
not. It ain't here.
Yeah.
So
Boy.
so anyway, so they all get together because now. Oh yeah, so the Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, they have this adoptive daughter. She gets kidnapped by Biosyn.
right.
Also, they found the baby raptor that was the same kind of cloning technique or whatever that lives right next to them. They got that.
Yeah.
So now we've got a reason for our characters to all go back to Biosyn magically together and do this espionage. It turns into some kind of spy thriller like James Bond, and it just feels out of place in this franchise. Just like Fast and Furious wants to be a...
Sure,
I mean, they're just
sure,
taking
sure,
the
sure.
same template.
Yeah.
Let's take something that's simple and works really well for what it is. Let's turn it into a big espionage spy thriller. And just as Vin Diesel seems ridiculous, Chris Pratt seems ridiculous. These are regular people. They are not super spies. Chris Pratt in this
Right.
movie is not supposed to be a super spy.
Yeah.
No, he shouldn't.
there's
He shouldn't
no
be able
way
to
he-
maneuver a motorcycle the way he maneuvers a motorcycle through the city, these tiny ass city streets, and avoids a velociraptor.
We'll get another movie with people riding motorcycles without helmets on.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. No, they're
So-
not legal in Missouri, so you know.
But what makes the first Jurassic Park so fun? They're just normal people. If Jurassic Park is Die Hard, this is Die Hard 5.
That's fair. That's a good
That's what it is.
comparison.
You've turned the lead characters, who were your everyday, relatable people, and they were our vessel to experience the awe and wonder of Jurassic Park, and you've taken them and turned them into superheroes because everyone wants superheroes. But the movie was fun. The older movies were fun because we got to live through them.
Well, it's one of the things that we kind of talked about with the prequels, right? Like the reason I think the prequels don't work as well is because everything is CG, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that's
well,
tactical.
that's a huge mistake as well.
There's
It takes
nothing
away from
not tactile, right? Like
yeah.
in the
Well,
first
there's no
one,
weight to it.
Yeah, that's exactly
the problem.
it, right?
Yeah,
when
it's-
those kids are pushing on that piece of glass, they're pushing against something,
Mhm.
you know, or when the granddaughter is like cowering in a corner and a velociraptor is coming around the
Mhm.
corner, that's a velociraptor. Like that, not, obviously not, but you know.
Oh no, it was. Spielberg doesn't mess around.
I mean, that wouldn't surprise me with Spielberg. Where in this one, they have moments of what looks like, if the CG's done it's insanely well, it looks really real. I think Bryce Dallas Howard is the best at reacting to whatever
Definitely.
it is.
Well, the best scenes in the movie are the ones that are supposed to be kind of scary.
Yeah.
And if you remember the first Jurassic Park, there's a lot of
Yeah.
horror
Oh,
elements.
yeah.
And what they missed, again, they went
I mean,
spy-
people described it as Jaws with dinosaurs when it came out.
That's exactly what it
That's-
is.
Yeah.
If you watch it, if that came out today, you'd be like, this is a very scary movie for kids. You know, like by today's standards, when you say like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is kind of scary for kids.
Batman is scary for kids.
Right. It's
Yeah.
the same kind of thing. So the moments in this that work well are Bryce Dallas Howard trying to escape the Giganotosaurus, whatever
Sure.
that thing's called, the not T-Rex.
Godzilla.
It's her trying to escape from that. It's Dodgson in the tunnel trying to flee with the Barbasol can, and the Dilophosaurus's
That wasn't bad. That
there's
was
three
all
of
right.
them
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
that
yeah.
like it's scary. The lights are going out. He's breaking down. The smoke is spurting out and gives you that little jump scare. The scary moments. But this movie chose to take its running time and mainly focus on Bourne Identity type espionage stuff. When I think people that love this series want to see scary dinosaur stuff.
Do I want to see a fist fight in the middle of a Jurassic Park movie? Not
Yeah,
particularly.
I mean, it's just not.
a fist fight between the T-Rex and the other dinosaur. Yeah,
It's
but-
just not the right.
What you get?
you do. Yeah, you get that. That's true.
But it's just not the right franchise, and there's usually a villain dinosaur. So you've got the T-Rex in the first one.
Yeah.
You've got the T-Rexes in the second one. That they bring back to
Oh,
the States
sure,
and all
sure,
that.
sure.
But like
Yeah, yeah.
even when they're over there on the other island, you still have the two T-Rexes with their baby, right? And there's the what was
I don't know
the
third one?
Yeah, in Jurassic World there was the
Oh, it's the bigger T-Rex, and then the
it can change colors. It can
It-
Indominus Rex.
Sure.
So
But then they
there's
bring-
a villain one,
yeah.
right? And then there's the weird hybrid things in the last one, whatever. But in this one, they take the focus off of villain dinosaur. Yes, there's like that one that they tell us is scary and doesn't like the T-Rex, but we hardly see it. We see
The
one.
Wolverine dinosaur?
Oh yeah, there's that
Oh,
one. which-
good call.
That's kind of
That's
cool.
exactly it. It is kind of like a Wolverine dinosaur.
But it's not the focus. I mean, there's moments like they're in the jungle and that Wolverine dinosaur is there and the not T-Rex is there and they fight and then go away. And then at the end they come back. But in the other movies, those big dinosaurs are stalking our characters the whole time. They are the villain. They are Jaws.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it work. Here, the dinosaurs are sidelined, and you're not really thinking dinosaurs. You're like, how are they going to get the DNA evidence, and how are they going to clear? And you're just like, I don't know. It's not Jurassic Park.
That's it. It's not Jurassic Park. It
doesn't feel like
it doesn't
Jurassic
feel
Park.
like Jurassic Park at all. Like it feels like you said, a bad
Bourne knockoff.
B level Bourne knockoff.
Now,
not C level, not even B
now
level.
there is action as opposed to the last one. I thought the motorcycle chase scene again. I don't like it for this movie, but it was entertaining.
Yeah, I thought
The
the motorcycle.
action-
I thought that was a good scene. I thought that first scene and which leads into the plane scene with
Yeah.
the ejecting
Oh,
and
sure.
then the water and then them breaking into the bias and
Okay.
whatever. Like I thought I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, first of all, what frozen mountain tundra has a jungle next door that you can walk to?
I have no idea.
Because they're up in the mountains and crash landing on ponds of ice and stuff. Which, by the way, Chris Pratt falls into a freezing.
And he's totally
pond,
cool with it.
Gets out. There's not breath. His breath isn't in the air. He's not shivering. And he asks Devonta Weiss, "Are you okay?" It's like he's doing the Vin Diesel thing. I
Right.
can't get scratched. I can't get cold. I can't get hurt.
Yeah.
And that
I
takes
think
me out
if
of
I'm
a,
storing a bunch of dinosaurs, like just from what little I know about science, I'd keep them away from the cold.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
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 Have these guys never seen Ice Age?
exactly. So they're up in the mountains on this range, and so it's like you go from Frozen, and then Bryce Dallas Howard's character, she lands in a tropical jungle.
Yep.
And can walk to the frozen tundra.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't geographically make any sense.
No. I can actually you can make the argument that mountain is so high.
She walked to it.
I guess that's true.
That's what I'm saying
She
is
does
that
walk to
it's walking distance
Yes,
from
she,
the
she
jungle.
didn't climb up the side of a mountain.
I don't
That's
understand because they're in Italy in the Alps or
fair. By the
something.
way, give that gal Fantastic Four.
Which one?
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Oh, okay.
Let her direct that movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she can direct anything. She's
and
great.
give the after watching the last season of Stranger Things, give the Duffer Brothers the X-Men.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, it just the stuff like that, the action sequences. I don't like the invincible hero, and it takes away all the stakes. I never once thought they were going to die in this. And then the only moment you get is Malcolm.
I thought we might lose one or two of the original cast. I thought that's
I
possible.
didn't think so.
Really?
I mean, I thought it was possible.
It's just not that kind of a movie.
That's also true.
It's
That's
just-
fair.
They've never killed off anybody you cared about.
They killed off a child. Didn't care about that
Did
kid.
you care about that child?
Not at all.
Well, there you go.
But they did eat a child in these movies.
So I think that's the problem is when you don't feel like there's any stakes, it's really hard, whether it's a motorcycle crash, a plane crash. They crash that plane through the ice like they're parking a car. I mean, it just doesn't matter, right? Like,
And that was not a
never-
small plane.
Never let Kevin drive you anywhere.
I know.
but I mean the stakes aren't there, right? You think when you're going to crash land a plane and they're making it all dramatic and a huge pterodactyl looking thing is tearing it apart and they crash it and they just pop open
Kevin,
the
I
hatch?
believe it's pronounced pterodactyl.
Oh, sorry.
Get it right.
They pop open the
I hate
latch.
to be
and-
pedantic.
yeah. They pop open the latch and just brush their clothes off.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
hey.
just ridiculous.
And so I think that really takes away the stakes from the action sequences. And then in this movie, when Grant and Sattler eventually go into the lab, they get the DNA from the thing and they're trying to escape with it. All these alarms go off and all that happens. Well, Tim Cook Dodgson
yeah, right.
decides that, he's got to hide all the evidence and he burns the entire room with all these locusts. They fly away for a good 20 minutes on fire.
This was another one
It's
where I'm like,
too
what?
stupid. They're
So my theory there is, and it is not well explained, but how I interpret it, because my wife and I had a conversation, because she had the same reaction you guys had, is I thought in their genetic code, he had a self-destruct where they would burst, he could make them catch fire to self-destruct. And so you're seeing this large, like,
Fireball?
swath of locusts fly away, and if there's 40,000, it might be 5,000 of them are on fire, and then the next 5,000 catch on. They're not all on fire simultaneously, and it's a self-destruct genetic code
Sort of like a forest fire.
thing within them.
Okay.
But they were on fire when they left the lab.
But
they left on
some
fire
were
as
and
one.
some weren't. So it's like, but
it would make
but
sense.
again,
if you
I'm
have
writing their script
sure,
for them.
It would
But-
make sense they would have a self-destruct.
But that's how I took it when he was like, "Oh, it's time to destroy them." Like that was always a fail-safe mechanism.
But then why does BD Wong have to throw like the one infected locust?
Yeah, why not
into-
self-destruct
Why
them
not
all?
self-destruct them all? Right?
What
Because
now?
BD Wong has that. They have that one, and he's basically says, if I can get this one if I can change the genetic code of this one,
The plot
Right.
of the movie.
and then throw it with the rest of the swarm,
Yeah.
that fail-safe is going to destroy the rest of it.
Like he can stop
He
them
wants
from
to heal
breeding.
them all.
Yes,
Yeah.
he wants to stop it and kill them all.
Yeah.
But
Why not do the
But
self-destruct?
if he has a self-destruct, why not just hit the? Why are there still?
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So the thing that's really unbelievable is, okay, he burns them all, and it's like, yeah, they should all be dying. But they burst out of the place. Okay, they're strong, fine. But they are on fire, in the air, swarming all the way around town, and they come over to the jungle where now all of our characters, there are 8 characters now. 8 characters running away from a dinosaur.
Wait, is that right?
I told
So
you
you've
they
got
were starting a ska band.
Chris Pratt,
Bryce Dallas
Bryce
Howard.
Dallas Howard, the girl.
Mm-hmm. Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, Ellie Sadler,
Alan Grant.
and who are the other two?
And then DeWanda Weiss.
Oh yeah.
And then dude from
that
Rand-
Blumhouse flick.
the Black Box.
Yeah,
Archive 81.
Archive 81.
Isn't he in Archive 81?
I think so. He's really good. That's Mamadou Athi.
He was good.
He
I
was
liked him as
real-
well.
I thought he's a great actor.
Yeah.
I thought he was a nice presence in the film, but again, everyone gets their 2 seconds and moves on. But
All of a
he
sudden,
just,
he's like, "By the way, I'm a good guy."
but he like he
No, when he's giving them instructions on where to go when they break off, like as he's saying that, I was like, if he's not a good guy,
Yeah.
this is a really stupid thing for him to be saying.
Yeah.
Like he's basically saying, whatever you do, don't go down
In that
here
elevator.
and make a left, and then on the third door on the right, like
very
it seemed like very bad writing in the moment.
yeah. And so I was
which
like,
was believable in these
"Oh,
circumstances.
Yeah,
it's
right.
a jump ball. It's a jump ball.
But no, you're right. So he's a mole. He's working the whole time
Yeah.
because they're like, oh, he's working with Malcolm and giving him the keys. Because why would Ian Malcolm have access to the underground laboratory and stuff? This character,
Yeah.
Mamadou's character, he is giving him the stuff. So he pops in. He's not there the whole time, but like he pops in later, like, oh hey guys. Which clearly this movie has a lot of bad editing, where people pop in and out and stuff is clearly cut and jumbled all around.
Yeah, they're in like Saudi Arabia, and then like 2 seconds later, they're in America.
Well,
Like,
they were like Saudi Arabia, then we're in Italy. I was like, well, those Those aren't even close.
Yeah.
And, but this guy is like telling Tim Cook to screw off, and then he just pops in where they just all escaped in the jungle with that. They're just like they
have
pop
teleporting technology.
It's bizarre. So so there's 7 of them on the ground, and the not T-Rex is chasing them. Which this thing is it supposed to be blind? Because you see its eye at one point. It's either really bad or it's blind.
Isn't that the well, I guess isn't the T-Rex thing is always that it's blind.
No, they say
right?
don't move. It doesn't have.
Oh, I guess that's true.
It's not blind. This one must be blind because it can hardly see him. It seems like at times, but it can't kill 7 of them. You see other dinosaurs in this movie, and if you're a red shirt just walking around, they snap you up left and right. 7 characters, and then they have to single file go up a ladder. 7, 3 old people.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Samuel's in his 70s. I love him. He's great, but he's in his 70s. 3 adults and like a kid. They have to get away from this dinosaur, and it can't snag one of them.
Well, and they try to give you the scene, the Jeep scene, right? They try to redo that here, but like we said, there's no stakes because it's all fake. Like so, when they get up into this little like treehouse, yeah, basically, and the Galapagos like smashes through it. Thank you. Like you just. In 1993, that's a real head that Stan Winston creates, right? And you can feel it and you can see it. And this one, it's just like, well, it's
the CG.
That's a guy holding the tennis ball for where everybody needs to look.
The CG's really bad in this movie. When you see the raptors run, it's like
it's
low
bad.
frame rate, herky jerky. The lighting isn't right. They don't blend it. Now, I mean, some of that might be because they filmed during COVID, so like give them the benefit of the doubt. But this is a big enough franchise where I'm like, you either got to delay it or you got to find a way to fine tune it.
If Disney can fix a trailer for She-Hulk in 24 hours, you can fix this movie.
Yeah, I don't know why with a movie that makes $1 billion, that Jurassic World is the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time with like $1.8 billion.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
dang.
It was a beast.
3rd highest grossing of all time. They can find a way to add a little more CG budget to this to make it look better.
It shouldn't be that hard.
But you're right. It takes you out of the stakes, and so it's ridiculous. I think by this franchise's standards, and so you're taken out of like, well, come on. And so but this is the thing. So all those locust swarms fly all the way on fire to the jungle. One lands by Ian Malcolm. He puts it on a stick to recreate the flare moment, and then he gets the hero moment where he throws the spear to the dinosaur, which was kind of cool. I'm like, okay.
Does he throw it in his eye or did I
through his mouth, like through the back of his throat? And so, but then
because then it breathes fire.
Yeah,
right. Which I was like,
that's
all right. I don't know how that works, but that was cool.
Anyway, but so they all.
Well, you swallowed a bunch of locusts.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that everybody gets they reveal to the world what Not InGen was trying to do, and everybody they have to put Grant and Sadler back together. Like, which I was just like, God, like, you suck. Like, the reason maybe
they gave him a happy ending.
We're 30 years post the first one, right? Life changes, and these two,
they found their way back.
Now
together.
Alan doesn't have to have kids because Ellie has 2 of her own, and so like, okay, I can kind of accept that, but also don't. Like, just don't. Like, you don't need to put them back together.
We didn't need to. Yeah, it's one of those things where the first one works so well because even though it's hinted at, and I think in the book it's maybe not, but in the movie there's that one line where Malcolm is hitting on Sattler.
Oh, it's in the movie a lot. He's firing on her from like...
No. I know, but there's that one line in the movie where when he's hitting on her, he goes, "Oh, are you Tua?" And Grant goes, "Yeah." But that's really all we get, right? It's not about their relationship.
Sure.
And so it's not about that, and it worked fine. We didn't need that romance. And here they felt the need to put the button on it, I guess, to give the characters a happy ending. But I think the main takeaway is the OG characters. I think the reason why this movie seems like, oh, maybe it's better is because of the nostalgia, and they brought the OG cast back. But the more you think about it and what they're given to do, it's frustrating because they're just so misused. I think give me the 3 of them in their own movie without the other crap with the girl.
Which 3?
The 3 OG characters. Give them their own movie because that's a movie. Pratt and Howard and the girl, that's another movie, right? And so they don't get the time. They get really stupid things to do.
Oh my God, they're going to Star Wars this.
And
we're going to get like random ass Jurassic Park stories.
It's just disappointing. I think it's entertaining. I wouldn't tell people like never see it, especially if you're a fan, right? Like it's an entertaining popcorn movie, but as the epic quote unquote conclusion to this franchise, especially if you love it, it's like, it's just
It's
underwhelming.
so bad. It was so bad.
It's always felt disjointed to me, though. It's never felt like one cohesive story of any kind. It's always been just like, oh, I guess we're going to make another one. What makes sense?
I think. I mean, even to me, the second one makes sense, right? Like now you've got to deal with these things that got loose from the park.
I like the second one a lot, and there were still practical effects. The CG was still decent.
Is that the
time.
Vince Vaughn one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What's the third one?
Third
is
one,
it just Sam
third
Neill?
one is ridiculous because they get Grant back because William H. Macy says, "Oh, we need you to do a flyover of the island to point out some things." I haven't seen it since theaters, obviously, but he says we need you to go back to the island. Which Sam Neill's like, "No." He's like, "We'll stay in the plane. It will be fine. We need you to point out things to make a map or something." And then it come to find out that William H. Macy and I can't remember who the wife was in that one, but they lost their daughter because she was parasailing or something and got lost on the island.
Sure.
So they really needed Grant to go back and navigate the island to help find the daughter, which, so they get him back that way.
Okay.
But at this point, if you were any of these characters, no matter who it was asking you or what the circumstances is, you'd have so much PTSD. I can't imagine any of that. Is Ian Malcolm really going to go anywhere near a dinosaur?
Hell no.
He's going to go work at the place that is walking distance from the dinosaur jungle. Like, I just don't think you could get these people back no matter what.
I just think, look, I just think that they want this to be a thing, and it's not a thing. Like, you have to, like, if you're like Tom said, if you're gonna make a movie like this, it needs to be us versus the dinosaurs, right? Like, I don't need a geopolitical movie about crops.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't think it's wise to go off into this. They're trying to make it way bigger picture, and they're forgetting why people love the movies, which is the dinosaurs. And I think what they need to do is.
Do you think that? Maybe not current Hollywood, but do you think there's just a, I don't know, like a stigma over the traditional summer blockbuster? Like we talk about Maverick, how that was, if that had come out in like 1987, like that would have been the greatest thing ever, right? In the summertime of 87, you get Maverick, and it's like this massive action. The story's there, it's fine, it's serviceable. But do you think that like current Hollywood has some sort of disdain, or maybe not disdain, but like they think making a movie like that, a popcorn movie, is beneath them, and they won't do it?
I don't know that I fully understand.
So like, you look at a movie like
you're saying they need the
you
political espionage thriller to elevate it?
Yeah, you got to have that crop, and you got to have the idea that we're trying to save the crops, or that it's not about the dinosaurs. It's
make
about
a bigger
people.
statement about the world or climate change.
Yeah, or
something.
just shut up and make a fun action movie.
I don't know, because the thing is, Colin Trevorrow is one of these guys that's kind of, I think, against franchises, and he's railing on big corporations and stuff in this movie, but he's right there making this sequel.
That's what, like, The Matrix was the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that Matrix sequel, it's like, oh, we're gonna poke fun at the entire thing.
I guess they figure, well, if you're gonna give me this platform, I'll use it. But it is just really weird to rail on the thing that you're doing. And if executed properly, it can work. But
I understand that superhero movies have kind of become the summer blockbuster, right? Like I can accept that at this point, but
that's what it is. I think we got the movie we deserve. And not the movie.
Well, I don't feel like I deserved it.
Well, I know, but this is the movie that is selling tickets. These are the.
Oh, I see.
This movie is going to make $100 and something million opening. It's probably going to make. My guess is 700 to 800 million worldwide. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near the other ones, but who knows? It could surprise us.
It's having a good opening weekend. I don't think it's going to have the. I think it's actually doing better because of Maverick. Like I think people had so much fun at Maverick. Yeah. They're like, oh, another sequel from 30 years ago. That one 2 weeks ago was a blast. Let's go back.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really front-loaded. I don't think the word of mouth is going to be as good. You've got some people that do love it, but I see a lot of people saying they hated it. It's doing bad critically, so I think it's going to be front-loaded. But let's say it makes $800 million. It's still a lot of money. They're not going to stop making these. There will be another franchise, another spin-off, another whatever. And my point is, though, that these are the movies putting butts in seats. People aren't showing up for the art house and the independent movies.
No, that's true.
And, it's amazing that Everything Everywhere All at Once made as much as it did. It's A24's highest grossing movie with, $50 million?
Yeah.
But this movie's going to do 150 million the first weekend.
It's going to murder it. Yeah.
And so that's the thing. So studios are going to take the wrong lessons from these movies, the success.
This is Nolan Batman all over again.
Yeah, they're going to greenlight more sequels, Lego sequels, whatever, right? And they're not going to put the quality into it. And they're going to say, oh, people loved it when Chris Pratt was James Bond and they were jet setting with espionage. Let's reboot, whatever, Spy Kids, but make it a gritty espionage thriller.
Robert
Whatever.
Rodriguez won't let that happen. And, but just on the Chris Pratt thing, we've got one more Guardians that's coming.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see if we're going to get 2014 Chris Pratt or if we're going to get 2023 Chris Pratt.
I think we're going to get the one we expect because it's James Gunn.
I guess that's true.
Yeah,
that's
think,
fair.
And
that's fair.
I think
that's the difference.
I feel like he's concerned about being. He doesn't want to get accused of only ever doing Star-Lord in all his movies. So
Right.
I think when he's playing Star-Lord, he's going to Star-Lord up the joint. Because
I
I mean,
gotcha.
think about all his other appearances in MCU when he pops up.
That's
he's
true.
totally Star. He's not. They're not changing how that character.
They're not doing that Amazon version of Star-Lord.
Right.
Whatever that crazy time travel movie was.
So yeah, I think that will be good, but it's just a bummer. I think this, especially getting the OG cast back, which now that I see it, I think they were like, we need something.
Yeah.
And they were there to hit on your nostalgia, and it works sometimes until you think more about it, which, I mean, to Tom's credit, yeah, if you don't think, but that's not our job when we're reviewing movies, and it's hard when you think of the plot and it's like, man, they're just wasted.
I've never expected all that much from these movies.
Yeah.
And so I really had noticed I would never go see this movie if we weren't reviewing it. I don't care.
Sure.
And so I went into it kind of like, ugh, and I was like, okay, that wasn't awful. Like that was, and now I will never watch it again.
Yeah.
I was reasonably entertained for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And
That's a lifesaver too. I thought going in this were 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
I was
It
like,
felt
all right,
long to
well,
me.
It did feel long. I'm not gonna lie.
and,
But yeah,
yeah, and I was like, and when the credits rolled, my wife was like, "Do we have to wait for the post-credit scene?" And I was like, "Joe can tell it to me." I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't think there's going to
There
be
wasn't-
one,
there
but if
wasn't
there
one.
is, Joe can describe it to me.
Yeah.
That's adequate.
I
I'm good.
waited
wasn't
for
one.
it. It wasn't there.
Sam Jackson showed up,
Yeah.
talked to the T-Rex about joining the Avengers. It's no big deal. This was terrible. I hated this movie. I did not like it at all. I did not have any fun watching it. There were pieces every once in a while that were enjoyable.
There were
but-
glimpses that made
yeah.
me remember I was watching a Jurassic
Yeah,
Park
right,
movie.
right.
And it's the horror ones. I'm telling you, it's like these movies are supposed to be scary. They're
But
supposed
not even scary, but like have an element of fear to them. You know what I mean? Like to me, scary
Potato.
scary is Jaws, right? Like there are scenes in Jaws that are absolutely terrifying.
First movie is really
Yeah,
scary.
It is.
When they're
I
in the
agree.
kitchen. and
Those
the-
are horror,
Yeah.
scary elements. Those aren't just kind of.
But he is able to levy that out. What he is really good at, he being Spielberg, is he ramps it up and hits you with that thing and then chills it out.
Well, yeah,
Where
I'm not
this
saying the
one
whole
doesn't.
thing has to be scary.
This
but,
one does not have. It's just like flatline.
But give us that fear. You got to remember, these are humans running away from dinosaurs. Instead of Chris Pratt being James Bond, letting them chase him on motorcycles, as cool as that action sequence may be, he's a human. They're dinosaurs. Like, let's have it be scary.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Let's have there be stakes. Oh my God, he almost died. Like, he actually almost died. Not, oh, I'm gonna ramp off onto a flying, a plane that's already taken off and latch on, and I don't know. It's cool in another movie, but
not in this one.
yeah.
So I guess that's it for this one. Let's go on the virtual table, and everyone can say where to find them.
This is Joe. You can follow me on the Twitter at JoeyButts, BUTTS21.
This is Kevin. Follow me on Twitter at KevinRBrackett and listen to the Games We Love podcast.
And this is Tom. You can follow me on Twitter at Roger Kubert or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online, facebook.com/Real Spoilers. While you're there, like the page, join the group. And, of course, don't forget our Patreon, patreon.com/Real Spoilers. So that's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in. And until next time, Arlo saves Spot from a giant wave.
Get ready for a spoiler